The Green Collective is a new collective that I started receiving downloads for today. It is one that is associated with rebirth. It's one that's associated with fertility, abundance, renewal, strength, resilience. There's a lot of plant imagery in this collective. And I just want to put a little disclaimer out there that you can be part of numerous collectives. There's not like a limit to how many collectives you can be part of. So for example, you may have 8 different YouTubers that you occasionally look at for spiritual guidance, and you find each of their advice helpful in a different way. That's similar to what I think is happening here with my collective channeling is almost if you think of different circles overlapping each other, and then creating this sort of Venn diagram, that's where you fall somewhere in a Venn diagram of those circles overlapping. So, for instance, I was channeling for the Silver Collective yesterday and the Red Collective. Now I'm doing the Green. You may find that you also resonate with, some of the messages in those, all the messages, none of the messages. These are general readings for the collective energy I'm tapping into. This may just be an aspect of yourself. So, with all that being said, as we learn about what these collectives are shaping up to be together, I'm going to go back into describing what this collective is. So, herbalism, plant witchery, a connection with nature and trees. You may be someone who's been a druid or a dryad in a past life. I'm seeing for some of you. I'm seeing a place by a river, by water. I'm hearing Wisconsin, so maybe that state is significant for you. Maybe you're from there. I know there's a lot of trees in Wisconsin, but I feel like the state Wisconsin is important. Perhaps something about that climate too could be significant for you. And the fact that there is snow there, but there's not snow in every climate that you live in. So something about the seasonality. I was also getting the company name Morinaga, and that's Morinaga. That's the company that makes I think haichu candies. If you've ever had those, it's a Japanese company, and they also make other types of confectionery, and Dars I think is another like chocolate brand of theirs. But so Japanese treats and sweets may be significant for you. um I'm seeing a lot of energy of rebirth. What's interesting is that I don't see a lot of death energy for this particular collective, at least for most of you. It's mostly focused on rebirth and growing things. So this could mean that at the time you're finding this, you're in a rebirth stage, because obviously we all experience different types of deaths and rebirths, but you may be in a period of your life that is very rebirth focused. You're finally seeing your shoots growing out of the ground. You're finally seeing some results for your actions. You're finally being where you want to be, and now you're rooting down and growing. Propagating plants may be significant for you. You may be someone who does that regularly, or you want to get into it, or you have done that. Specifically, there's a type of root growth hormone you can put on the bottom of the leaves to make them root faster. So there's something like you have an ability of working with your hands to root into things faster. Like you can apply your hands to situations and cause them to take root faster, which is a very interesting ability. You may also find people listen to you more when you face the sun. I'm not sure exactly what that phrasing is, whether that is making sure you get enough sun every day. Sun may be important for this collective. It may also be when you're facing your truth, when you're facing your ego, if you will, your identity, because the sun represents our identity, our ego, willpower, drive, determination. A lot of solar plexus energy, right? And so the sun is quite this generally more masculine appearance of energy. So yeah, take that if however that resonates for you, but people tend to like when you look towards the sun. That's important for you in your work. Maybe there's something about visibility here too, of being seen. I'm seeing a jungle right now too, and there's a lot of fruit in this jungle, but the thing is that the fruit is hidden inside the jungle. So it takes the right person to go in and know what they're looking for and be able to get that fruit out. So that could be a metaphor for you where you have a lot to offer, but sometimes it takes the right person to draw that out of you. You may not know fully how to bring that to the surface, quote unquote, or bring it to the outside, but you've created a structure or a biome wherein you're existing pretty well right now. Even though it may look like messy or unkept or overgrown or dangerous or busy or whatever sort of adjectives people want to attach to it that are kind of negative, regardless of how that looks to others, you're a thriving ecosystem. You're a thriving biome. And it's important that you know that about yourself because you have this gentle and nurturing energy to you that genuinely wants to help, wants to protect, while also being aware of the circles of life. Circles of life. That's interesting. I meant to say cycles, but maybe this is also a metaphor for like the other collectives that I channel for, the circles of life, plus um, how life tends to return you to similar points after a period of time, but with deeper understanding. And you just kind of spiral down and down as you learn these lessons. For this collective, dreams are very important. Dreams are very significant. You could do a lot of dream work, or you could feel like you've been getting called to do dream work. Um, I'm seeing you may wear sage green. You may wear green articles of clothing. Your walls may be green. Your kitchen, for some of you, I'm getting your kitchen is green. Um, Green Tupperware. There's like a lot. If you open your eyes and start looking around, you'll probably recognize there's quite a lot of green in your home environment, and that's reminiscent of this jungle imagery that I was seeing. You may have pictures of plants, or like I said, lots of plants. Excuse me. Um, I'm getting a lot of you must have something to do with plants because I burped on that, and I always think that's a confirmation. Let's see what else here. A message that's coming through is don't forget that you're capable of sustaining life just as well as you are at like taking it. So there's this image of, snakes in the jungle that can keep predators at bay because there's this delicate balance in the ecosystem of this thing eats that thing, but then that thing eats this thing, and the thing over there eats this thing right here, and this thing here eats that. Like it's this complex web, right? The spider is only the biggest predator to the fly because a lion doesn't care about a fly or a tiger doesn't care about a fly. Does that make sense? So it's almost like there's this really interesting energy for your life that is, as you grow and advance, you become prey, you become food to different things in the food chain. Yeah, this is such an interesting imagery that I'm seeing. So let's say that you start out as like this little grub. Well, there are certain types of animals that will eat that grub, but it's hard to get to the grub because it's, underground most of the time. But when it goes into its pupae state and then it emerges as a beetle, now it's protected by its hard outer shell, but now it has to face the world, right? And I'm seeing a black beetle in particular. Um, and even though it now has wings and it's got this protective armor, it's like because it's out in the world, it's at risk of different things getting to it. So, like a bird could eat this beetle. Another bug that's a bigger bug could eat this beetle. But again, probably a tiger will not generally eat that beetle because it's too small for the tiger. So it's safe from the tiger. So there's this message how in your life, you have at times been prey or been victim to forces that were stronger than you. And yet, the fact that you were the size that you were saved you from forces that were much worse because you were seen as too small of a prey. So I'm getting that spirit. I'm getting like big chills while I'm saying this. Spirit has been very careful with positioning you because you have a lot of healing abilities. Raphael was coming through earlier for this collective. And Spirit didn't want people cluing in on you too soon because if you in a more fragile state had been targeted by one of these larger predators in your environment or your surroundings, I'm getting that would have been really dangerous for you. That would have been like lethal in some cases. There would have been no question you would not have survived. Now, I hope this analogy makes sense because if a beetle gets caught in a spider's web, it's probably going to die, but there's at least a chance he gets out. And also, not every web can catch him. So it's like, it's just a bit more of a fair fight than if this beetle is like going up against a tiger, because he's not going to win against a tiger. Unless he maybe slips through the tiger's paw or something like that. But yeah, so the message that's overwhelmingly important, though, is that you may have felt really small a lot of your life. You may have felt like you were not placed in an environment where you could grow and thrive, that you weren't respected for your light and your abilities, like you weren't properly nurtured. Um, but it's kind of like your growth was stunted on purpose. And that is so that you could be safe from larger forces that would have targeted you. And you can take that in whatever way that that resonates for you. But now you are at this position in your life where like you are a jungle. You have been nurtured up from these tiny little seeds that no one would think anything. My apologies. My microphone died actually, and I noticed it within a minute or so of it dying. So there's a little bit of a gap between the previous recording and this one, but I'll just splice them together and that'll be fine. So anyway, continuing back on your channeling here, it may be significant that something kind of cuts you off, or that something has felt like split halfway for you. You may have found it that you try to graft things onto other things because maybe the base root won't grow it anymore. And so you put it on another tree. I'm seeing apples and oranges growing on the same tree. So you may do things that others kind of consider impossible, but because you are faithful and dedicated and hardworking, and very intuitive, you are able to mesh things together that others wouldn't think would go, because it takes a little more effort. They might think, I'll just buy a new apple tree instead of trying to save this one. But you might be a sentimental collective as well, because there's this feeling of attachment to the apple tree, to, your groves. So you probably form attachments to things in your life, and you're willing to compromise or work hard in order to maintain those connections, whether it's with items or people, possessions or belongings. Okay, let's see what else here for this collective. You're going to have to work hard at becoming yourself, is what I'm hearing. The jungle needs a lot of growth, and the jungle needs a lot of pruning. You have to become very comfortable with letting go of things, as well as letting new things in, but also determining which things will destroy your biome and which will add to it. So you're someone, like I said, this keeps coming through, that has a biome, that has an ecosystem. You have a specific set of circumstances that is needed in order for you to thrive and in order for you to achieve what you need to achieve. And you can't let anyone stop you when you are prioritizing that, when you're doing that. Yeah, it's going to be really hard for you to be around others that don't nurture your biome. Because while you are giving, like I'm seeing so much fruit in my mind, different types of tropical fruit, while you are very free in giving, with your time, your money, your energy, your affection, to the right people, you also know how to Venus flytrap those people if they if they try and like step on you, if they try and disrespect you, because you're not going to allow someone to destroy this biome you have built up for yourself. And this biome doesn't have to be for everyone, right? Because the Amazon rainforest doesn't grow all the types of plants and animals and stuff in the world. It grows what it grows. But you can't say that it's like a superior biome to, say, the coral reef down in the ocean, or say like the tundra plains of Canada. They're just different biomes, and they support different kinds of life. And all the animals, all the plants, all the everything is important for each one, but it is a different setup. You have a lot of biodiversity, though, is what I'm being told. This may be a collective, too, that has different kinds of backgrounds for their ethnicities or their history, ancestry. Yeah, you may have had like just a lot of different lived experiences. You may experience a lot of different cultures and value a lot of them. You may find ways to incorporate little bits from different cultures into your life, too. Whether that's like trinkets or pictures and drawings and foods and teas and all this other stuff. Yeah, but you just have this appreciation for life. And I'm seeing 333 on my timer as I'm recording this. I know it's going to be a different number when I splice it with the other, but threes may be significant for you. Excuse me. Yeah, you just have such an appreciation for life and a respect for life that it offends you, people who would trample on that and disrespect it. So the parting message that I want to give you is to lean into your biodiversity, lean into your unique environment, and I'm hearing understand your biometrics. So take that how you will. Understand what is required for you to grow, for you to root down, and understand like you are no longer at risk of being eaten by those larger predators that would have destroyed you as a child. But you may find like, oh my God, my throat is closing up so much. I don't, this is so weird. I don't know if someone maybe doesn't want you to hear this message. I almost feel like there is someone intimidating in your presence, like around you or something, but it irritates them. Like they don't like you. They want some amount of control over you. Um, but what you need to know is that you are able to practice discernment now. And I'm seeing 444, which I associate with protection, and specifically often protection around like romantic partners, but not always. It could just be protection in general. Um, but yeah, just know that you're on an equal playing field because I'm seeing this the jaguar. So like it's like a really dark leopard basically because it has that same patterning. But I'm seeing a jaguar now. And so you are kind of one with the night, like you blend in, you know how to navigate this jungle. So even if you are fighting against a tiger or a lion or something else, I mean, probably a lion wouldn't be in the jungle, but you know what I'm saying. Um, if you were fighting against other large mammal predators, you could be able to take them, but they cannot kill you easily. Like it's not like you're a rabbit fighting against them. It's like you are your own diverse biome. So just keep that in mind for your journey ahead, because conflict is necessary for your growth. Even when plants grow, sometimes they shove other plants out of the way. Sometimes even beautiful plants like can be poisonous and they climb up on other trees and things like mistletoe, and they leech the life from the things that they parasitically cling to, right? Like nature is not good or evil, it simply is. It's all a biome. And so what you have to understand about yourself is maybe to not view yourself as good or evil, because I feel there are people in your past, there's people in your life that have labeled you in this way, and you're an ecosystem. You have to treat yourself as such, you know? So yeah, that's all I'm getting for your messaging. I am looking forward to channeling for you guys. This is a really interesting collective, that's for sure. Um, yeah, please also like and subscribe, because that helps out my statistics or metrics or whatever here on YouTube and helps me to reach more people. Please also leave a comment, even if it's just a little emoji or something, because that helps me better connect with the collective that I'm channeling for. So yeah, thanks for listening. I will see you soon.